Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You. I'm Brian Blessed. Yes, it's me. Now, the BBC interviewed Gerry Adams. What did he say?
Didn't he go on about how she supported a whole list of things he didn't approve of, basically?
Well, he said Margaret Thatcher did great hurt to the British people. Although not as much as all those bombs, eh, Gerry? All right, Gerry, any time! Yeah. Straight between you, gizzard!
I thought we politically moved on from issuing threats to former members of the IRA.
Lord Howe of Aberavon was asked by Sky for his thoughts on his time in Thatcher's cabinet. And he said it was a long time ago. Well, yes, that's the idea when someone dies, Geoffrey. A bit of reminiscing about old stuff. Come on, shape up!
I think you're in safer ground attacking Geoffrey Howe than you were with Gerry Adams.
Did you hear about Julian Stiles? According to the Mirror, Julian, 58, was made redundant from his factory job in 1984. I've been waiting for that witch to die for 30 years, he said. Tonight is party time. I'm drinking one drink for every year I've been out of work. 30 years? Without a job? Pull your finger out, Julian, you lazy bastard! I'll kill you, you bastard!
Let's abandon this show. Brian says, who wants a fight? Line up in alphabetical order. Adams, right. You're first.
This is the shocking news that immigrants are now emigrating. Now, who said...
So now our plumbers won't be able to speak English anymore?
Well, I'm not sure they ever really could, but...
That was the joke.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, could you give us a verbal signal when you've done it?
Like this.
Bloody hell, my job's impossible. You must first get...
No, it's just the way you're doing it.
I know, I'm doing it. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here.
Do you know, I'm thinking exactly the same.
Tensions were further escalated this week when North Korea warned they would restart their nuclear reactor with the chilling words, "OK, boys, start piddling." And so on to round two, and a new game that I'm calling Have I Got Noise for You? Along with a picture clue, I'm going to make a noise which should tell you what the story's about. So we start with... Yes. Hello. Lady in Red. Now, what are those?
I think the pandas have started having sex, but I don't think they make that much noise about it. They don't really get very sort of, you know, horny.
No.
It takes a lot to get them going.
Yeah.
Do you know you came top in a poll of the sexiest bearded men?
Did I really?
Yeah, I heard about it somewhere.
I mean, you were only running against Osama bin Laden.
Now, who's been refused entry to Britain this week? Who's been refused entry to Britain this week? Osama bin Laden's son, Dave.
Dave?
No. I knew you'd fall for that! Yeah, I knew it. No, it's not Dave, it's Omar.
It's Omar, he's making eyes at me.
What's his argument for being let in?
That it's not his fault who his father is.
That's right, you're absolutely spot on. He doesn't think his dad's done anything wrong. You're quite right, Ian.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that at all. I said it's not his fault who his father is. I didn't say his father's done nothing wrong. That would have lined me up in a rather extreme company.
Back to the telly, I can read this. Now, this is the news that fewer East European immigrants are coming to Britain, and many of those who did come are now leaving. Many people are now realising that you can actually make a lot more money by going abroad, like this man. The Independent asked the big question. What if all the Poles went home? Well, they'd have nothing to fly that flag on for a start. Meanwhile, a BNP mayoral candidate, Richard Barnbrook, has been cheating on his fiancée with a Finnish immigrant he met on the internet. She told the News of the World Richard is average in bed. I think we'd all be pleased with that. I know I would. But I don't need that pill. I don't need the blue pill. Yes, any bird
How do we
watching...
get out of here? How do we get out?
What about the pink pill that says tranquilizer?
Ian and Alan...
Horse dosage.
Have you always been shy?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And here's your next noise clue. Here we go. Catching! Boo!
This is the banker,
Yes, James
Crosby.
Crosby.
Yep.
So anyway, there were three bankers who were finally in HBOS, which is Halifax Bank of Scotland, which collapsed spectacularly and had to be bailed out by the taxpayer. And the three people in charge have finally, after all these years, been found guilty. And the Parliamentary Standards Committee were incredibly cross with them. And a banker has offered to give his knighthood back.
God, you're a mine of information.
If he was a mine of information, Margaret Thatcher would have closed him down years ago.
Well,
But what was interesting about this man, James
Yes.
Crosby, is, as well as being in charge of HBOS, he was Deputy Chairman of the Financial Services Authority, which was meant to look into scandals in the city. And amazingly, he didn't see his own.
Why are we saying that that's a great thing for him to do? It doesn't really seem... I mean, a title's very important.
John Lennon returned his gong, didn't he? So it's a good precedent.
Yeah, and I lost my title when I got married. It didn't bother me at all.
What were you?
Miss.
As well as his knighthood, what's Sir James kindly giving back?
He's giving back some of his pension.
25% of his pension, so he's got to get by on 400 grand a year. God knows how he'll manage.
It's tough, isn't it, Ken?
It is
You
tough.
tried.
Well, in actual fact... Well, me dogs, he's kindly giving back 30% of his annual pension every year until he dies. Though that still leaves him taking $400,000 a year, or in other words, the piss. I put that in. Gordon Brown's worst week in politics since last week. So this week, Brown has been...
It's good.
Hello,
It's good.
Paul.
Carry on. It's
I'm
wonderful.
a big fan.
Rave reviews. Rave reviews.
Shut your face. It says that extracts from Lord Levy's book were printed in the Sunday papers.
Oh.
Blair apparently said Brown couldn't beat Cameron. Alan, any views on that?
Well, you know, I was the marvellous Prime Minister, you know, just... you know...
Who's that? What were some of the other revelations in the book? I'm going to chin you if you don't watch it. Margaret Thatcher is to have a ceremonial funeral. What's it going to cost?
10 million.
You're absolutely right, between 10 million and 40 million. I mean, I didn't understand this, you see. Look, when I was a kid... I used to make coffins. I left school at 14, love. I made hundreds of coffins. Yeah. I mean, I could do it cheaply. Wait, it cost 25 quid.
In those days, even if they weren't dead, you punched them into the coffin. Get
Well,
Brian has just offered to do the whole thing for 25 quid.
For 25
which has
quid.
Got to be the lowest bid. I think it's out to tender. Give it to Brian.
The BBC News produced an artist's impression of what the funeral might look like. Yes. Well, it's a bit like Reservoir Dogs. All the retrospectives of Thatcher's reign have brought back some memories. Do you recall what the eminent Dr. Jonathan Miller said about Thatcher? She is loathsome and repulsive in every way with her odious suburban gentility. I mean, it's good that Jonathan Miller reminds us occasionally of what a twat he is.
Line them up.
I'm going on that. Am I on that?
Yes, you're on this now.
Yes, so
I don't know
thank
what
God
you're
for that.
on.
I can't read this. Yes, this is the solemn news that one of our greatest peacetime prime ministers has died. But don't worry, Gordon's alive! Yes! Geoffrey Archer paid tribute to Lady Thatcher, saying she was a giant and she will remain a giant, and in history she will remain a giant. Geoffrey Archer, not just a terrible writer, but also a terrible writer. Lord Saatchi joined in the tribute, saying, "Everyone wants to be immortal. Few are. Mrs. Thatcher is." Has he not read the papers? Lady Thatcher's funeral will be held in central London next Wednesday. It will be a full ceremonial occasion with military honours. But at her own request, there will be no fly-past, though the Argentinian Air Force did offer.
I guess you are the only gay Tory, aren't you? Actually, there
Are you gay?
Brian, you'd never guess you were an actor.
What have US soldiers been doing which involves Camp Stanley? They're practicing anti-chemical warfare techniques. Oh, I've got terrible wind.
Are you sure this isn't chemical warfare?
If somebody kills Brian, the list of suspects is going to be enormous.
Some experts believe we can predict the next move of North Korea because they've got a thing about the number 9.
Yes.
Now, what is it?
It's a lucky number. It has a great significance in their culture.
That's right. Now, 9 is regarded as a very lucky number.
Yeah.
The first nuclear test took place October 9, 2006, as my birthday.
Yeah.
Second was on 5th of April, 2009. Yeah. And that's significant, according to the magazine Business Insider, because...
Sorry, what was the first word?
Now, it says here, 5 plus 4 equals 9, and the 9 of 2009.
Yeah.
Now, the next nuclear test was on 12th of December 2012. Yeah. And therefore, 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 of 2012 equals 9.
Yeah.
And the North Koreans announced they couldn't protect foreign diplomats after Wednesday of this week, which was...
the 9th.
April the 10th. We're dealing with lunatics. This is the deranged, power-crazed dictator... hang on a minute. Haven't we done with her? No, I'm getting it wrong. Oh, this is Kim Jong-un and his desire to make his own mark on the world in the shape of a bloody great crater. Daily Mail helpfully provided a London election Q&A section on Wednesday. Now, the questions they addressed were, how does the London election work? What happens if I vote for the same candidate twice? What should I do if I want to get rid of Ken? If he's to stand any chance of turning things around to win the next election, Gordon Brown has a huge mountain to climb. Ooh, lucky bastard. Now, this week... I get terrible wind. There really is a petrol crisis when motorists in Scotland start panic buying, with some putting in as much as £5 worth. Now, newspapers have been doing their bit to calm motorists with headlines like, "Petrol! We're running out! Strike! Sparks! Fuel shortage feared! Will fuel stocks run dry?" And I'm all right. Miss Hurley was recently given £240 worth of parking tickets when she left her car on the streets of Mayfair for 4 days after she had forgotten where she had parked it. But apparently it was down to the Sun newspaper, who reported that they managed to trace the car to the street where she left it. God, they're God!
I wonder how they'd done it. I wonder if they used any sort of technology?
Rich people don't behave like you and I. All my money goes on my animals. We don't know about leaving a little car here and a little car there.
What animals
and
do you
forgetting
have?
all about it. Yes.
He's
do you
got
know what I mean?
3,000 animals.
Yes, thousands of animals, yes. And so we just...
What? What are they?
Are you,
I mean,
are you expecting a flood?
I have to tell you now. Should we not know? What do you say? Yes, this is the news that inmates are enjoying such comforts in jail that they are ignoring chances to escape. Now, prisoners receive a wage for doing work in prison, and the Times featured the range of basic items they can purchase, such as 250 grams of Lynx shower gel. Just what every prisoner needs, something to make himself absolutely irresistible. A very bad taste, I'm so sorry. And so to round two, which this week is called A Blessed in Disguise. I'm going to disguise myself as a news story, and you have to guess what it is. Ian and Alan, this one's yours.
Were you being a squirrel, then?
Absolutely right.
It's a squirrel.
How did you know that?
The red squirrels were initially displaced by the grey squirrels.
Yeah.
And now, after years of dominance, the grey squirrels are being displaced by black squirrels. And they've gone and attacked the old grey squirrels. And they're taking over. And a lot of people are very worried. It's in the squirrel community, these black squirrels coming over here, taking the greys nuts.
Would you like to see the photograph accompanying this story in the
Yes.
Sunday Times? This is the news that grey squirrels are being overtaken by a new mutant strain, the black squirrel. The interesting thing about these new squirrels is they're big, bushy, and have no trouble attracting a mate. Like squirrel, like human, I always say.
Have you been shagged by a squirrel? Is that what you're telling us?
Also, a little thing is, which won't be shown, you can see my hands.
Yes.
But we used to play marbles, and we had ball bearings, and we had glass arrows, and we had glass marbles in the war years. And I was a good marble player. A poor marble player did that. But a good marble player could turn it, which was rather handsome, put the marble just there on the thumb and finger, and shoot. And you had immense accuracy.
Have you lost any of those marbles since Brian?
Yes.
What do you like when you're drunk?
And I leave you with news that in Alabama, a group of gay rights activists campaign for same-sex marriage. In southwest China, a cormorant salesman is advised by locals to go and get those looked at. And the row over the cost of Lady Thatcher's funeral escalates with the delivery of the hearse. Good night and